Overcoming your failures is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. 99% of you don't know who I am. My name's Connor. I'm 21. In the last 3 years, I've generated $500,000 in personal sales, and my team and I have grossed just shy of $950,000 in sales. Getting close to the million mark, and we have much more to go this year. But I wanted to talk about failure a little bit. I wanted to talk about how to get through it, and I'll explain it in 3 ways. And the third way is something I think is super applicable. This never gets old for me. Hold on, watch. Bro. Like, what are we talking about? I started this channel because I think there's a lot of people in my shoes and people just above where I'm at, and a lot of people probably like a couple of years right behind where I'm at right now. And I think that's so crucial. A lot of times we try to learn from people that are, they're 15 steps ahead of us. They got 1 million subscribers. And trust me when I say this, because I've worked with mentors, it is much harder to grab the advice they're giving out, because the advice that works for them now does not work for the version of them 15 years ago. Low-key, I need like what are they called? Like a holder thing for this. You're not always going to succeed, and I think that's a bit tough for some people to understand. I think it's okay to understand that sometimes you're gonna fail, and I think a lot of us, we tend to expect to win, right? And maybe you're not that type of person. Maybe you're not sure if you're gonna win, but failure just is sometimes it's immobilizing, and I'll speak from personal experience here. I've failed at least once or twice a month for the last, I don't know, my entire life basically. But it's when we put the pressure on ourselves to go higher. But I just think it's one of the few things that's rarely talked about, and I'll explain, right? So first, right, when you're learning to fail, you need to fail forward. I think that, most of us have this notion that failure means you take a step back, and it can, but I like to think of failure as simply learning a new way to move forward. Failure doesn't mean you've lost unless you're dead, and that's really the truth. I wouldn't be where I'm at now, and I'm not by any means where I want to be. But I wouldn't be where I'm at unless I'd failed multiple times, because it's all about learning a new perspective. And sometimes that perspective is really what drives you to do better, in my opinion. I think that's how you do better in life. Hold up, we're recalculating. But that is just so important to understand, right? Second thing I want to talk about is regret. This hits close to home for me, a lot, honestly. I tend to regret a lot, and I mean a lot. But I'm gonna quote one of my favorite entrepreneurs. His name is Ryan Serhant. I'd rather regret the things I did than the things I never tried. Or if it's the other way around. But I think that's everything. I think dealing with regret is tough, because a lot of times we want to, a lot of times it's tough because we want to sulk. We want people to, sulk with us. Sometimes we don't want to show our face, because we feel like a failure. But the truth is, you striving for this higher goal means that you failing is most people's normal. And I think that is just powerful and really underutilized. Lastly, I think it's important to apply what you learn, right? So for everybody listening, so what I would tell you, and this is kind of the advice that I go by, is think about what hasn't worked. There's a lot of things that you maybe weren't the best at, things that you failed at. Maybe there's something you quit, right? And that's okay. And I want you to think about goal setting going forward in a mindset that like you cannot add on without first removing something, if that makes sense. Like there's no possible way, really, let's be honest with ourselves, to go and to set new goals, to elevate higher without first removing something that we are bad at, or removing something that caused failure in the past. I mean, it's impossible. It really is. And I want everybody to know that. And like, I wish somebody told me that like 4 years ago when I was getting into this. Like, you have to remove things that maybe even you're good at, but they won't get you to that next level. What got you here will not get you there. And I think if you can realize that, then you can set goals. So what I would do, go and actually set goals for yourself. I want you to get out a piece of paper, whatever you do to take your goals down, whether it's digital or whatever. And I want you to think first about what you can remove before what you can add. I just wanted to keep this video kind of short, do something on the drive, speak a little bit from the heart, from experience, but it's something that's been sitting on my shoulders, and I know it's important. If you guys are ever lost, and I know a lot of you guys have it figured out, but if you are successful in a different industry and maybe just want to try something else, learn sales, or maybe you have no experience and you don't know where to go, and you really are a dog, I do help run a program that does set people up with the same 100-day program that I did to learn sales 3 years ago. It's in the description if you want. I don't sell anything at all, and we're kind of tight on that, but I throw that out there because I'm looking to hire guys if you really want a shot. And should be a video somewhere around here. I don't really know how this works. I've never done the YouTube game a lot, but that's all I've got. So if you want to learn more, tap that. If you want to see if we can work together, tap the description. Otherwise, I'm out.